So let me just start off by saying the iPad mini is a tiny thing. So small, in fact, that the Apple Pencil barely fits on the side. But even with its small size, I find it to be an extremely useful device. So that's why in this video I'm going to be giving a short overview as to the hardware, software, and first day bugs that I experienced with the iPad mini 6th generation. Comparing it to an iPad Air 1st generation, it's shocking the size difference. It makes the iPad mini seem almost pocketable. And because of this, it's much easier to just pull out of the bag and take a note. And when typing without a physical keyboard, the iPad mini's small size allows it to be easier to type on the screen. So an overview of the iPad mini's hardware. We have Apple Pencil 2 support, so that oh so amazing magnetic connector. We have a Touch ID sensor on the power button. Tap to wake is also a godsend. Other notable features include it being one-handable, just like every other iPad mini, it having an actual camera bump with its 12 megapixel camera, and it having a True Tone flash. Some weird things though, is that since the Apple Pencil connector is on the side, and the Apple Pencil is just about as long as the iPad mini itself, there is no room for volume buttons, so they had to move them to the top. One very minor complaint though is that the buttons never seem to be in the right spot. When the Apple Pencil is facing downwards, the volume buttons are easy to reach, but since the Apple Pencil is facing downwards, it is nearly impossible to set on a table even with a folio. When the iPad mini's Apple Pencil connector is facing upwards though, the volume buttons are on the bottom left-hand side, which makes it a little bit weird for you to claw your fingers around to reach them. Some fun day one bugs include when you open settings and look at your wallpaper, that the rounded corners are completely whacked out compared to the actual square background. Other apps like Amazon are completely unoptimized for the new iPad mini. So you see that there is a bezel around the edge. Even some of Apple's own apps like Garageband and iMovie are completely unoptimized for the new display. The screen recordings that you see of the iPad mini, black bars on the sides, are not cropping, they are actually just apps not supporting the wider screen of the iPad mini 6's display. Editor Nick here. For GarageBand and iMovie, as of the second day of editing this video, which is Sunday, September 26th, they did end up fixing the GarageBand and iMovie bug, but with other third-party apps like Amazon again, they still have not fixed that. Although the USB-C port is an amazing addition, it doesn't seem that it gives off enough power for some accessories. This Apple USB SuperDrive, for example, doesn't get enough power. It just doesn't accept a disk. Some accessories that have worked fine for me, though, are flash drives and external SSDs. One thing I've heard people say is, why would you buy an iPad mini? Why not buy a normal-sized iPad? It's cheaper and it has a bigger screen. My counter to that is, what if I don't want something that big? It's almost like the iPhone 12 to the 12 mini or the 13 to the 13 mini. You want a bigger phone, but then after using the mini phone, you think, man, why did I ever need the big phone? Some examples that I've heard about people using the iPad mini are pilots and doctors. An iPad mini fits perfectly onto the console of a plane, apparently, and in the pocket of a lab coat or whatever doctors wear. Disclaimer, I am not a pilot or doctor. One use I've found great for the iPad mini is as a network managing device. It's smaller and easier to carry around than my Mac, and I can do most of the things that I can do on my Mac, like use a terminal. This is an app called ISH. It's available on the App Store, and it's a great app for if you just want a basic Alpine Linux terminal on your iDevice. With the right packages installed, you can even run small servers or write Python code in it. Using the handwritten message utility in the Messages app almost makes me feel like using PictoChat on the DS, especially on such a small screen. And sometimes the iPad mini can just feel like a composition notebook, especially when you're just trying to write notes on it with GoodNotes 5, which is my personal note-taking app of choice. So unless they come out with a new iPod or M2 MacBook Pros anytime soon, I'm going to say that this is my favorite Apple device of 2021. So should you buy the iPad mini 6th generation? That's an absolute yes from me. If you're 1, looking for a new iPad, and 2, want something not as huge as the iPad Air or iPad Pro. So that's my quick overview of the iPad mini 6th generation. If you have anything else that I missed, you can feel free to comment, or just general things that you would like to know. You can comment those as well, and I will try to answer them. given that there are probably only going to be about 7 people watching this, it shouldn't be too hard for me to answer all your questions.